Damn, they arrested the shit out of him. Trigger warning, this guy's voice is hella annoying. I don't know what that means.
Why did you guys come in and say you were searching for an assault?
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone came in this morning.
I never mentioned to you anything. Just told you we're investigating something. Wanted to know.
Investigating.
Do you want me to call anybody for you, George?
It's an interesting concept to think of how you might respond to what would normally be an easy question, especially during a circumstance where it becomes a terrifying dilemma. We ask that you contemplate this question while you put yourself in George's position, but not before you grasp the context of what brought him to this moment. It begins with 22-year-old sports scholar Yeardley Love, a star lacrosse player at the University of Virginia. She is captured in this photograph playing in the second-to-last game of the season, clearly aware of the obstacles that lie in front of her, yet continuing to move forward, which is the circumstantial detail that turned this picture into a symbol for the globally recognized organization that would be founded in her memory. This would be the last photograph taken that day, capturing Yeardley's last embrace with her head coach Julie Myers. Both were unaware this exact moment would soon be on the national front pages. On May 3, 2010, at roughly 2:15 a.m., Yeardley's roommate returned from a night out to their off-campus apartment. Upon entering, she saw that Yeardley's bedroom had been broken into, at which point she rushed inside to find her unresponsive on the mattress. She had blood coming out of her nose and severe bruising across the right side of her face. But the most alarming thing was that she wasn't waking up. Her friend called 911, who instantly guided her through the steps of CPR, which was then taken over by paramedics who arrived on the scene 4 minutes later. But their attempts at revival were unsuccessful, and Yeardley was pronounced dead at exactly 2:47 a.m. At 2:53 that same morning, criminal investigator Lisa Reeves woke up to a phone call from the sheriff's office. By 2:59, she had arrived at Yeardley's apartment leading the investigation, and by 3:50, confirmed that she had her first person of interest, which was 22-year-old George Yeardley V, Yeardley's ex-boyfriend, and the next several hours were spent gathering information before she knocked at his front door. She found out that George was a fifth-generation heir to a very wealthy American family, whose roots lay in lumber dating back to the 1900s. He was educated at Landon Prep, a prestigious all-boys private school in Bethesda, Maryland, with annual tuition fees of up to $50,000. George was the star player of the lacrosse team and became an All-American athlete. This led to a full scholarship at the University of Virginia, where he remained a key player in the starting lineup, and where he would also meet, then spark a romance with fellow lacrosse player Yeardley Love. They dated for almost 2 years.
Yeardley and Love's relationship was an on-again, off-again one, where they cheated on each other throughout and that tempers flared both ways.
What was going on with these two young people? What may have led someone to do what happened? These are just a completely unbelievable set of facts.
Everybody watched the relationship. People were really troubled by it. They were scared for her. Nobody knew what to do.
Yeardley ended the relationship in 2010, just 2 weeks before graduation. 9 days later, she was found dead in her bedroom. And that same morning, George Yeardley would hear a knock at his front door. He opened to Detective Lisa Reeves, who was dressed in civilian clothing. She introduced herself as a police officer, but mentioned nothing of the crime. She simply stated that she was conducting an investigation that could benefit from his presence at the sheriff's office. George's response was to lethargically put on his flip-flops, then walk over to the passenger side door of her unmarked police car and let himself in. Somewhat bewildered, Lisa got in and drove them to the police station a few minutes away without talking. It was around then when she noticed bruised...
Okay, I gotta pause it here and say, first pause, it's 5 minutes in. I mean, this is fine.
Okay, 4 minutes and 57 seconds.
Okay, across the board, immediately, like, super rich kid, like, I feel like it's what you're seeing here is a sense of entitlement that is overwhelmingly powerful as a rich lacrosse kid possibly doesn't even recognize that he could be implicated in this crime, or even if he is, doesn't care.
Bruising on his knuckles and cuts on his forearm, at which point George was no longer a person of interest. He was the prime suspect.
All right. Did you say you did want water, didn't you? I know I introduced myself to you at your house, but my name is Lisa Reeves. Today's date is May the 3rd, 2010. The current time is, I can't tell on that one, 7:52, okay?
My drama papers too.
What's that?
My drama's papers still right now.
All right, your first name is George?
Yes.
Right away, you'll come to notice that George is oblivious to the gravity of the situation, and it would be very safe to assume that he at this moment is unaware that Yeardley has died. He seems to believe that he's in as much trouble as he would be sitting in a principal's office, perhaps for getting in a fight at class or on the lacrosse field, and the sooner he provides a sanitized version of the truth, the sooner he'll get to go home. This, of course, ties in perfectly with the interrogator's opening strategy, which we've labeled warmth for the sake of this video. She will downplay the severity of his situation to a considerable degree, while maintaining a friendly temperament with a sympathetic undertone. She needs the suspect to feel safe and secure for the time being, as the less cautious he is, the more information he's likely to give away. Then as soon as he locks himself into one particular storyline, the pressure can commence, which often leads to a suspect being laden with panic and contradictions.
I'm gonna pause again and say that there ain't no fucking way this dude was writing his own drama paper. Rich fucking spoiled kids like this always got some nerd that they're paying like a couple $100 to fucking write their paper for them, okay? No shot. Sorry.
Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You
Stop doing a pause counter.
Questioning and have one present during questioning. If you cannot,
your chat's doing it too?
Provided for you.
What?
And if you're willing to talk to us now, you're going to stop talking to you.
George has two options here. Option one is to remain silent, then allow his father to get him the most expensive attorneys in the country. He would then have years to examine the evidence, evaluate the many options available, and then construct the most self-preserving storyline with world-renowned experts in criminal defense before they present it to a jury. Unfortunately for George, he takes option two, but before he does, rewatch the flawlessly reassuring manner in which he's given the final piece of the Miranda warning.
And if you're willing to talk to us now, you have the right to stop talking anytime.
Okay, I gotta pause again. Pause counter 3. I don't care. This level of care and consideration from a police officer or detective to the prime suspect on a murder case is never afforded, okay? It is unimaginably considerate. And I assume it is because the person is rich, okay? Straight up. Rich white dude, I've never seen it. Either this cop is literally like running for historically best cop of the year award for every fucking year, or this dude is just straight up like, I mean, he's getting considerations, accommodations that I've never seen.
Wait, Hasan.
Awesome.
What?
Okay, this is, I'm gonna start pausing so I can respond to you.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it's a tactic to get them to, you know, say certain things and trap them into a certain storyline.
No, I understand that for sure. But ultimately, a big part of like developing a case in many instances, regardless of the warmth that they're demonstrating, is by trying to get them to talk. And oftentimes, like cops will do the, oh, we can get an attorney for you, but never the second part where it's like, oh, we're gonna be, I'm gonna be extra considerate and tell you like we don't have to talk to you if you say you need your lawyer. How many times have you and myself separately, independently watched JCS videos where cops will literally fucking be like, oh yeah, you want a lawyer? Okay, no, all right, well, you still should talk to us. You still should talk to us. You still should talk to us. I've seen so much rougher interrogation conditions, even if they are also being positive and warm towards the suspect. I've seen infinitely worse structured interrogations where they just basically, like the suspect will ask for a lawyer and they'll still continue asking questions. Anyway,
white privilege.
But maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
White and rich.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Let's watch. Oh, sorry.
Sing for there, so you understand.
Okay, that counts as a pause.
No, it doesn't.
And are willing to talk to us. And the time now is 7:53. All right. Let's kind of start. I'm going to kind of ask you some questions, and like I said, we'll explain things a little bit later. Tell me about your day yesterday.
Played golf with our parents. It was a father-son. Good event. I went to dinner with my dad and my two buddies, and then
oh god, this guy sounds like such a douche. Oh god, I hate him. I already hate him so much.
To talk to Yeardley, and
who's Yeardley?
Yeardley is my former girlfriend.
Okay.
which this whole thing's about, which I understand, but
George has now initiated the investigative subject matter himself. It's the perfect opening scenario for the interrogator because she's given nothing away, making it more likely for him to reveal details that will contradict the evidence.
when I went over to talk to Yeardley,
He sounds like Blastoise. I can't unhear it.
No, he doesn't. That's an insult to Blau.
He sounds like this sometimes. He's such a
No, this does not sound like Blau.
yes. Blau literally sounds like this sometimes. Where he's like, oh, I can't wait to hit the POW.
And
Yeardley
that's what
slept
he's
with
doing,
another
like his
lacrosse
surfer
player from
boy
North
voice.
Carolina the week before, which is what he just referred to.
And she was already like, oh, like freaking out. Like, you know, you can't come in, you can't come in. And I was like, I'm like just trying to talk to you.
The investigation team obviously had no way of knowing this, and George has now confessed to the crime of second-degree trespass. More importantly, however, he's just confessed to initiating the supposed confrontation.
Yeah, what the fuck? He's like, I broke into my girlfriend, my dead girlfriend's house.
And the critical fact he can actually recognize and remember this will be used against him repeatedly in the future.
That's insane.
And like, she like started being like getting like all like, you know, like really like defensive. She was
So I fucking killed her. It was crazy.
And like, I was like,
Totally.
listen, I'm not here to like, I'm just here to talk to you. And she like got all like sat up, like her bed's against the wall. Like if it was in this corner, she was like up against the wall, and I was like we were sitting there talking, and like she started being like you know like getting,
Okay, we
like,
need a light counter.
aggressive.
Okay, it's 1,000,000 already.
After this, and so I was like, all right, like chill out, like, and shook her a little bit.
So just to recount what George said over the last 47 seconds, Yeardley was defensive. While being in a defensive state, she backed up against the wall. She then became aggressive. George's response to this supposed aggression was to initiate physical contact.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen, I'm not like here to do anything. I'm here to talk to you.
What the fuck?
about
Why would you think
everything
that?
that's ensued in the past week. And she was like, and like sort of like being like, no, like hitting her head, like stop, like she was in the corner, I was sitting on the bed, I was like, stop, like, I was like, Yeardley, like, what the hell, like, we were just gonna talk.
So let's go back half
I
a minute
hate
and
him
dissect
so
what actually
much.
just happened there.
And so I was like, all right, like, chill out, like, and shook her a little bit.
He will now say the words, and she started being like, then simultaneously mimic a body colliding with the wall. He will then stop himself mid-thought and subtly modify the detail.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen. And she started being like freaking out.
Oh, good
He goes
catch.
from illustrating Yeardley hitting the wall to, as he states, freaking out.
And
He seems to realize mid-sentence this isn't the best way to explain her injuries, so he changes the detail to buy himself time.
And she started being like freaking out, and I was like, listen, I'm not like here to do anything. I'm here to talk to you.
He carefully shifts the topic from Yeardley to himself and keeps it there for 8 seconds before attempting to re-explain what occurred in a more self-preserving manner.
And she was like, and like sort of like being like, no, like hitting her head, like.
No jury on the planet will believe that Yeardley was voluntarily slamming her head against the wall with enough force to cause fatal brain damage. All George has done here is give away the fact that he knows Yeardley has sustained some type of head injury and now lied on
By the way,
record about
a
how
brilliant detective work, just letting this idiot speak. I mean, actually.
And like, it was not at all like a good conversation because.
Oh yeah?
She was already like.
Because I was slamming her head against the wall.
See me there.
Okay. What happened next?
What happened next? And she just kept hitting her head against the wall when she was sitting on the bed. And I was like, and I grabbed her and I like shook her. I was like, stop! Like we need to like, and looked at her. I was like, we need to like talk about this. And like, I mean, I was holding her arms and stuff, but like I never struck her. I never like hit her like in the face.
What the fuck? Why is he saying that?
Talking. She was so like, oh, I mean, what's the word? Like, you know, like flop.
This motherfucker.
What is he saying?
This motherfucker has.
He's insane.
This is like levels of self-report that I have never seen before. He just straight up, like, sometimes we'll watch a psychopath get interviewed by a detective and interrogated by a detective. And I mean an interview because they want the detective to know what they did. They're proud of it. This guy is just so profoundly stupid that he basically said he did the murder and then thought he could get away with it by saying, I just like thought the visor off and I definitely didn't do the murder. Insane. Incredible. Also, one other thing I was going to say is this motherfucker's never written an essay in general. He can't even craft 3 sentences together without tagging on like 18 likes. He doesn't know she's dead. I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm saying like he basically is like self-reporting that an assault, that he assaulted his ex-girlfriend. He said former girlfriend. Doesn't matter that he's not aware that she's dead. What matters is that he's aware that he's being called into questioning because of an assault charge, most likely. Okay?
If he doesn't know that she's dead, like, is she having a seizure? Is that why she's like? Because the way he's like describing her as like hitting her head against the wall herself and flopping, like he was making like the arm movements.
Yeah, I don't know if he knows she's dead or like the medical examiner
did they
has
say
declared
that?
her dead or not. I don't think the detective has said anything yet. No, the detective has said nothing so far. So I don't think she said that.
He's kind of doing all the work. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's carrying the burden here because, like I said, profoundly privileged and most likely has never been in any real trouble, or if he got into trouble at school or whatever, his parents have probably been able to get him out of it. So he doesn't understand the consequences of his actions right now.
A fish out of the water, like so, like all this, and I was like, listen, like I'm not here to like fight with you or like do anything, like here to talk to you, and she's like, no, like get away from me.
Oh my gosh.
You have to leave, like all this stuff. And I was like, all right, like fine, like, but like I want to talk to you after all this, and like I was like a little.
Yeah, the detective is applying a technique called "let him cook."
You know, my former girlfriend who like something happened last week, you know, and I was like, all right, like, well, so we were like talking over there, and I mean, somehow we ended up, somehow I was resting her on the floor, and I was just like, stop, I just like, and I was holding her.
I was holding her. I was a little bit persistent. I was wrestling her on the floor. All further evidence that designates George as the aggressor. He's completely shut down his ability to argue any sort of self-defense claim.
And then the conversation, I could tell, was just like, it was not going anywhere, and nothing was happening, and she like went back to bed, and I left.
Right.
And I went back home.
Okay.
Phase 1 is now complete. The suspect has unknowingly locked himself into a storyline that will put him away for a very long time.
He's phasing up right now.
The risk of him shutting down or requesting a lawyer is no longer a primary concern. So the interrogator will now increase the pressure. She will confront him on certain elements that she pretended to overlook before. And the ideal scenario is to cause just enough panic so that he backpedals on previous statements and contradicts himself.
All right, so you go over there, knock on the door.
Her front door's open. Her room door was closed. I knocked, like Yeardley, like she heard me open the door and went in.
All right, went in where?
To her room.
All right, straight to her bedroom.
Straight to her bedroom. Yeah, I mean.
How'd you get through the door?
Her door, the front door.
Her door.
Actually, it might have been locked.
It was.
What?
Oh God.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
What? Why?
Actually,
What is he
To
doing?
be honest with
Yeah,
you.
no, yeah. It was
He's being
actually
honest, I
locked,
guess.
Because I think I put a hole.
Yeah, you punched a hole through the door.
Pretty sure, actually, now. Yeah, that you said that, yeah.
What?
Why'd you do that?
Yeah, why?
Well, I
What
guess,
you doing?
yeah, once I was in her room, she was like very like, you know, like, Harley, I'm not, like, I don't want to talk to you.
Blah.
And she was very like,
Your Honor, the vibes were
just like,
permanently
wonder-
fucked.
I wonder why she was on
I
edge.
don't talk, like, you know.
Your Honor, you don't understand. I needed to fucking resuscitate the vibes. Like,
Outrageous.
I
it
just
was
wanted
bad.
to talk.
to you.
Why'd you punch the door then?
A very unusual time to interrupt a suspect in such a contentious manner. He was giving away self-incriminating information that could be
Yeah, the
used to
second
establish
detective
a motive.
sucks.
He was doing exactly what the lead investigator wanted, but Detective Ed has now stopped him in his tracks. It's a reckless maneuver at this point in the interrogation, which Detective Reeves is no doubt conveying at this moment through nonverbal communication. She now has to let the suspect...
They're doing JCS Reacts is so good. They're so good that they're doing reacts on the detectives, like the detective's body language too. But he's right. They're right. They've done so many of these that they're just like they're professionals at this point.
The other detective looks so disappointed.
Yeah. No, a typical man just fucking barging in on the convo and wanting to have his voice be heard, you know, pausing the conversation, you could say. Anyway.
respond as to not undermine their position.
Because I want to talk to her.
Detective Reeves will now bring his guard back down through a reassuring tone and gently guide his train of thought back to his grievances with the victim. She pulls this off in 3 questions.
All right, we'll continue on. That's fine. Continue on. So you're talking to her and she doesn't want to talk to you?
Not really. I mean, we talked though. Like there was parts where we were talking, and then like.
Do you know what you're talking about?
I mean, about so many different things.
Okay. Like what?
Like what she did last week.
Hmm.
Like went to like Carolina. She went to Carolina and hooked up with someone Sunday when we were still trying to figure out things. And I was over there like to talk, like I was like, this is like.
He even gave the motive. That's insane.
I was trying to get
He's like, that's like my motive.
Then, like, you know,
Your Honor, she cheated on me. The vibes were fucked.
Like how upset I was because I've told her like through emails like how upset I was like about what she did, and so I was like, and I sat on the edge of it. I was like, listen, like I want to talk to you. Like what you did was bullshit. Like that's not like okay. And I was just like, and she's like not like you know, she's like you know, sort of pushing everything that she did to the back burner and like talking about like you know like trying to like put everything that she did like wasn't important. It kept going to the point where she like I was like, listen, like you're like we have to figure like out what's going on. And she was like, I'm not talking to you. And then she like pushed me, like get out of here, like go. And I was like no, and like I was like be like we have to talk, like so like get like
when you're doing that, what are you holding on her?
On her arms.
On her arms, like maybe up here.
Like shoulders, yeah.
Shoulders.
Like be like come on, like you know, and that's when she was like wiggle and like get away and like you know like hide get in the corner like really like
what the fuck?
Like defensively almost.
Even his like the way he's describing it, like he would still get punishment for assault at this point.
Like, this is not going anywhere.
How'd she get back in bed?
We were like wrestling and we stood up and I tossed her, I pushed her onto the bed. I was like, go
tossed her onto the bed.
Did you touch her neck area at all? Did you choke her at one point?
Oh my God.
May have grabbed her.
Oh my God. Oh, dude.
But I never like strangled her.
Okay.
But I mean, during the whole like commotion, you know, like I might have grabbed her neck, but I never was like strangling her.
Okay.
More detail that was unknown to the investigation. The fact that he grabbed her neck can now be used as evidence. It paints a more frightening picture of the incident with relation to the suspect's aggression.
He is going
toward
to
the victim.
super jail.
This was an extremely damaging revelation for George's defense. The discussion moves to the moment he left, and George admits that he took Yeardley's laptop.
Why'd you grab her laptop?
What?
Because I was so pissed that she wouldn't talk to me. I was like, I don't know. I like took it almost as like collateral, I guess. I don't know. It's not.
His dad's lumber yard did not produce enough wood to get this guy out of jail. I can tell you that.
Did you take anything
There's
else?
no
besides
shot.
the laptop? Nothing.
No.
He stole her laptop? What
So
the
when you left out of there, I mean, you saw that she was bleeding on her nose.
She's now about to ask a question with the same implication for a second time. Notice what occurred the first time.
Did you go back and check on her at any point?
No, I did not.
Okay. Did you try to call rescue or anything to make sure she's all right?
No, I did not.
No. Why?
The face of bewilderment, if there ever was one. It's very strange that he's so taken aback by such a
Caught in
question,
4P.
especially when you take into account the possible outcome if he had actually called for help.
One medical expert revealed in the courtroom for the very first time that following Yeardley Love's brutal beating, had George Hughley or anyone else called for help, she might have survived.
I didn't think it was like, I didn't think that she was like in need of like going to the emergency room. She just got, I mean, a blood.
What do you think that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't.
Did you say when you were, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you were shaking her, her head was hitting the wall?
Well, that was in the beginning. That was initially when I walked in. Like she was like up in the corner, like get out of here, like like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
At any time when you were shaking her, did her head bang the wall?
Put yourself in George's position and imagine Yeardley had in fact self-inflicted her injuries. You would perhaps say something along the lines of, absolutely not.
I wasn't hitting her against the wall, but like,
Dude,
she's,
what
like,
the
sitting
fuck?
there in the corner of like, if it were like,
Oh,
this,
no,
I
no,
would
my-
totally, like, you
wait.
know, and
This guy's so stupid. Maybe he literally did not realize that she was actually in need of,
you like do that,
emergency help.
like, bullshit.
This guy's
move, like,
pretty dumb.
Like like everyone like he didn't like, what are you like doing like that like.
Okay. She has a pretty good knot on her head. That's why I'm asking how you can explain how that would have happened.
I mean, I don't even know when that a knot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Like on the side of her head, she's been hit pretty good right there. So I'm just trying to figure out, did you hit her with something?
no.
Was that
no,
her head into the wall?
never touched her or struck her or anything.
Well, you touched her. You had your hands on her.
You know, I said never struck her.
Okay. So you
Oh my
I'm gonna go through this
gosh.
one more time, make sure we're on the same page. So you're pretty pissed at her from a week ago for sending you text messages. Do you have those text messages where she says she, as you put it, fucked somebody?
I actually might have those. Yeah.
All right, you got your phone with you?
Yeah.
And let's pull it out and scroll through it. Let's see if we can see those.
He
The
thinks
next
this
moment
is.
fascinating because it symbolizes
He thinks he's pulling this out because he thinks this is gonna help him. Like probably. I assume he thinks like, oh well, like obviously that's why I went over to confront her and like was shaking her. You know what I mean? Like, but meanwhile she's like establishing motive.
I think
How
he
drastically
thinks.
George-
Sorry, go ahead. What did you say?
I think he thinks that like saying like, oh, she cheated last week is like justifiable in his actions.
Yeah, no, that's
I think he doesn't realize he's in trouble. That's how dumb this man is.
yeah, exactly.
change.
Mm.
That
The interrogator
second
will
pause doesn't
invade his
count.
personal
Yeah, that
space to
counts.
make sure
That's
he's
2
not
extra
deleting
pauses.
No, I was
anything from
doing
his
it-
phone.
it was a courtesy
Soon after
pause.
that, she will take the phone out of his hand and place it on the table. Actions that would be completely unacceptable in almost any other circumstance.
We didn't say them.
They were like, I guess what you call like an ongoing conversation, ongoing like instant message, and it's gone.
Okay.
That's crazy.
All right. Let's talk about how you
Entered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Because to put your fist through the door.
no,
she
it's
had
actually
to
my
have been
leg. I'm pretty
Is
sure
your leg?
because that's why my leg's like this.
Yeah, you're right. That was your leg.
Yeah,
How'd you get all the bruising on your hand then?
this is all from lacrosse. This is all.
That's pretty fresh right there. Looks.
This is all from my lacrosse game on Saturday.
On
I mean, I wear my
Saturday.
Fuck. My gloves right here.
Stop.
Even right there, I thought you wore those padded gloves.
This is
Lacrosse.
all. This is all the difference. This is all from lacrosse. And I got whacked here. I remember 100% got whacked during the game.
Yeah, this is you're going to jail if you're relaxed, bro.
When you had her and you're shaking her, did she scratch you anywhere?
No.
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 She's a little girl. She's tiny.
Yeah, she did not. No, she didn't. She didn't
She didn't try
scratch me.
to hit you or anything like that?
No.
Oh my God, he has no out. He literally, she's giving him an out.
So that's how I got. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I stuck my hand through and unlocked it, and went in there.
Oh, that's scary.
Okay.
Everything else is you.
The detectives leave the room for roughly 3 minutes. When they return, it appears Ed is given the chance to lead with a few of his own questions.
I know we touched about what happened last night.
This guy's gonna suck.
Set it up for me. Lead it up to me a little bit here. Why did you guys break up exactly? Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, we are not from the same area.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going, or she wants to move to New York, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing yet, but I'd like to move to San Francisco.
Why'd you take her computer?
I don't know. I have no idea.
There's maybe because there's evidence on the computer, emails that you sent?
No, there's no. I mean, you can find.
Oh, that's
all the
terrible.
emails and everything back and forth.
Detective Ed now asks George if he held Yeardley down on the bed. He's trying to subtly set the grounds for an argument of smothering, which isn't a terrible idea, but would be disproven by the autopsy regardless.
No.
Did you fall down on top of her? Rest on the
We were
ground?
wrestling on the ground for like a little bit.
Did y'all wrestle on the bed at all?
No, I never I shook her.
No, I mean just kind of hold her down until she calmed down on the bed.
No, if anything that would.
I mean,
if anything that would have been like.
He's cutting him off too. He sucks.
When her knees started bleeding, we were like wrestling around.
It's got the same amount of head injuries that our boy has here.
No, I mean.
She's screaming?
No, she was not screaming, actually.
I mean, if I'm cracking my head in the wall, I'm going to be saying, "Ow."
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, she was not screaming.
Yeah.
She should have been. Probably. I mean,
What?
maybe.
What?
She should have been. Probably. I mean, maybe. I don't.
Even she.
I don't know. I mean, well, she was screaming when I first came into the room. She was like, "No, I'm not talking to you. Get the fuck out of here," all that. But
At any point, before you said you, and this was your words, you said you tossed her on the bed and then you left.
Yeah.
All right. At any point before that, did she lose consciousness?
No.
Okay. What happened after you tossed her on the bed? Did she move? Talk about, say something?
I mean, I literally tossed her on the bed and turned around and.
Tossed her on the ground or tossed her on the bed?
And
Tossed her on the
walked
bed.
out the door.
Okay. So when you tossed her back on the bed, in your mind, she was bleeding, but you said she was bleeding out her nose, and you didn't feel like you needed to call rescue?
No.
After that, after banging her head and
No,
shaking her and blood coming out her nose on the floor?
No. There's nothing about
You missed anything that no one asking right now?
There's nothing about going to get anything or going. I don't know. I took the computer.
George rambles about why there was no reason for taking the laptop for another 20 seconds, during which time Detective Reeves decides that enough information has been attained. Phase 2 is now complete, and the fate of Yeardley is about to be revealed. These moments in interrogations are considered important for the purpose of gauging a suspect's response. It's believed that a sharp and sudden revelation can make it difficult to fabricate emotion. So in theory, this will cause a suspect to provide either a genuine response or a relatively obvious disingenuous response, which often comes in the pretense of shock or remorse.
I mean, I guess that's where my logic was at, but which is...
Well, I have to tell you something.
I think I know why you took the computer.
In the midst of what would have been a flawlessly executed moment, Detective
God,
Ed jumps back into the laptop mystery. The suspect has essentially confessed to murder. This really wasn't the time for regurgitated conjecture over a petty theft misdemeanor, which Ed was clearly being advised of once again through nonverbal communication.
This is insane.
You all right?
Go ahead.
No? She's dead. You killed her, George.
Throw Ed in jail too, honestly.
She's dead.
I think you knew that already.
No, I did not.
In our opinion, George is being truthful here, and we believe the interrogator feels the same way in this moment.
I don't think he fucking.
I don't think he knew.
Yeah, he's so fucking stupid. I think he's being truthful.
How the fuck is she dead?
Because you killed her, George.
How the fuck is she dead?
Because you killed her.
George appears to be going through a delayed response. It's so foreign a revelation that it's yet to sink in. Once the shock settles, he refuses to accept it, and this denial appears to be a momentary coping mechanism before the reality of the situation truly hits him, which will happen at this time in the footage.
Oh my God. She's dead?
Yes.
She's dead.
Yes.
She's dead.
She's dead.
How? How?
I already told you how. You already told us how as well.
How is she dead?
You just told us.
Oh my God.
Bro, you slammed her head against the fucking wall. Like, yeah, that's how she's dead.
What an idiot.
You went in there to talk with her, but it got out of control, right, George?
The detectives will now add further pressure to keep him talking. Suspects will often divulge information in these moments in the panicked attempt to save themselves, and in doing so can
They're
shut
trying to do
down
good
a more
cop, bad
credible
cop, but it's
storyline they
literally
haven't
like
caught up yet.
good cop, bad cop, skill-wise.
You kicked in her door. She started to fight with you. You punched her in the head, or you cracked.
She's not dead.
You cracked her
She's
head.
not dead.
You
She's
cracked her
not
head in
dead.
the window or in the wall.
not dead.
She is.
She's not dead.
I ain't BSing you right now. It's serious.
I want to see her. She's
George,
not
look at
dead.
me.
George.
She is dead.
You are not here to dance with us. You're here because she's dead. The alcohol.
I don't believe it. I don't believe
It's
it.
true.
Dude, I didn't. I don't believe that she's dead. I don't believe that she's dead. I don't believe that she's dead.
Did you punch her? Did you hit her?
There's no way she's dead. She's not dead. I never did anything. I did not.
All right, let's calm down.
I did not like hurt her. Like she's not dead.
Then calm down.
Just out of protocol, what we gotta do is stand up for me, George. Go ahead, put your hands behind your back for me. Turn around.
Relax. It's all right.
Relax. You'll be alright.
You cannot relax when you're handcuffed, okay? That's fucking bullshit.
Please. Will you tell me she's not dead?
Relax.
Please, will you tell me
You know what? I wish I could tell you that, George. 22-year-old. 22. And her life is done.
She's not. I can't.
Oh, it's so sad.
Like that. Oh my God. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way. I do not believe it. I do not believe
Also,
it.
classic cop moment. Let's calm him down by handcuffing him.
There's no way. There's no way she could be dead.
Either the head trauma or asphyxiation.
There was no asphyxiation.
Okay.
Oh my God.
He doesn't notice. He doesn't deny the head trauma.
Yeah.
What was she doing the last time you saw her?
She was like standing up with me. She was standing up with me. She was standing up with me, looking at me.
Was she standing or you were holding her?
She was standing up, looking at me.
Okay.
She's not dead. I know she's not dead. I know 100 million % she's not dead. I did. She cannot be dead.
I know it got out of hand, George.
No, it didn't. She was like, no, like, get away from me. You have to leave, you have to leave. I was like a little bit persistent. I
Was she
mean,
screaming?
she should have been. I didn't kill her and leave. I didn't just, oh my God. I didn't kill her. I did not kill her. I did not kill her. I did not. There's no way I didn't do it. No way. No way. I want a lawyer. I don't believe this. I don't believe this. There's no way. There's no way. There's no fucking way. So should I talk to someone?
Who do you want to talk to?
Anyone. A lawyer.
When we'll get appointed to you.
Okay, what do I do now? Go to jail?
Yeah.
What?
All right, George, right now, I know you no longer want to talk to us. That's fine. Just let you know something. We're working on a search warrant right now. And what it is we're going to have to collect some stuff from you, like what's called a buccal swab. Okay?
She wasn't screaming because she was dead? No, she wasn't dead, actually. Like, that's kind of an important part of this, is that if he had called 911, she would have survived.
For an assault.
I never said anything about an assault.
Someone
She could have been safe, but she probably was like so severely concussed and having internal bleeding
You want me to call anybody for you, George?
from the head trauma.
At the start of this
Hasan.
video, you were asked to
What?
think of what you would do in this
Just pause the video.
situation.
Oh, now
Can you
you
try and imagine what
Just
would be
pause
going through
it. And
Now-
I know
now you
you're
want me to pause
trying-
it.
You just don't want to rack up your pause counter. Be honest. Just pause it.
Okay, well, you
and
paused
just
it
say what
last
you have
time.
to
That was
say.
a your. You paused it, and then I accidentally unpaused it. So that was you. You paused
Well,
it.
because I can't hear, and also I can't hear you either. And just pause it. If you want to say something, just pause it.
Okay. Well,
All right. And also, every time you talk, that's an extra pause for your
that's
counter.
great. Okay, we're just making
like an
rules
extra
up as we
5.
go along. That's bullshit. Anyway, we're gonna rewind 10 seconds,
And what were you saying?
and I don't even remember what I was saying, so it doesn't even matter because you just kind of cut me off there a little bit. It's fine, but
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for interrupting you.
no, it's okay. But yes, no, I do like pausing. Okay.
Yeah. Just
Anything.
moment, as you might just gain a restorative outlook from both knowing the answer while not having to answer this particular question. But there is, of course, no possible way you will gain anything close to the newfound perspective George has acquired in this moment, which unfortunately for him is no longer of use.
Want me to call your dad?
This is, we call it mom.
Your mom? Is that who you'd like me to call?
Can I talk to her?
Mm-hmm.
Can I talk to her?
I don't know about that. What's your mom's name?
Oh my God.
What's her number?
301-96.
Okay.
How?
Did you want me to call your dad? Or just her?
She'll tell her.
Mm-hmm.
She can tell her everything.
Okay.
How? I don't believe it. How is she? There's no way she's gonna be dead. There's no way.
Calm down.
There's no way. There's no
I
way.
legit believe.
is
I
so
believe it.
stupid.
Like I think he's just a fucking idiot. I mean, he's abusive. He's a murderer, and I legitimately believe that he did not think he murdered her
Yeah, I
until
think
this
he's-
moment.
so stupid.
He's insanely dumb.
George, go ahead, put your foot down.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
These next few moments are a turning point. The leg irons seem to initiate a shift in his constitution, and his denial will completely cease from this point forward. He will continue to ask why and how, but he will no longer reject the severity of what is happening.
Oh my God.
Yeah, maybe don't break into someone's house and keep trying to talk to them when they say no,
Yeah, I mean,
or shake them.
or fucking slam their head against the wall.
Yeah, that too.
Another thing that I was thinking of is like he might have even done this. He might have been abusive like this in the past as well, which is part of the reason why he was like so surprised that this
Hey, you want the
time
rest
he
of my
ended
life?
up killing her. You know what I mean?
Am I here the rest
Yep.
of my life?
In this room?
No, jail.
I don't know.
Because like, there's no way you just like pop off one time and start fucking.
Never said you were, bud.
That's someone who is comfortable being abusive with their partner.
I'm sorry.
You call my mom?
Not right now. Yeah, you do want to talk to her. Now's when you need your family the most, bud. You know?
Dude. Didn't even.
Also, wild. I don't feel like. Oh, I was gonna say I feel like he has no remorse, but I guess he
Taken
does.
to the regional jail soon
was
after
so
this moment. He would go on
sad.
to plead not guilty to murder and was held without bond for almost 2 years awaiting trial. It began on February 6, 2012.
Well, testimony is now underway in the murder trial of the former UVA lacrosse player accused of killing his ex-girlfriend.
For the first time.
I'm gonna pause again. You know, they never use fucking bad photos in these situations too. Like they always use like a good photo, like a vanity photo, when it's like a rich kid like this. You know what I mean? Always.
We have video of Yeardley as he was led into the courtroom.
Contrary to his appearance in the days that followed his arrest for the murder of 22-year-old Yeardley Love, he appeared pale, frail, and gaunt.
The prosecution presented a case that Yeardley went to Love's apartment that night, busted through her bedroom door, and in some way struck her, causing blunt force trauma, which led to her death.
We've also learned that on that night, George Yeardley was exchanging what were described as playful text messages with 3 other women. Those messages continued late into the night and even after the alleged attack.
Throughout this trial, Yeardley has sat expressionless, almost stoic at the defense table. All of that.
And this motherfucker was like already trying to move on, and oh my God, bro. Okay, listen.
Well, they were both cheating on each other. Like,
okay,
he literally acted on his emotions, and it's like big baby when he doesn't get his way, but he's such a
I know,
hypocrite.
but
I'm so
but
mad.
you don't just abusive relationships develop over the course of a long period of time, oftentimes, and it ends up piling on top of one another. It's like here and there. First, it's yelling. Maybe the first time you establish physical contact is like, you know, an escalation, right? You don't go from 0 to 100, which is why I said originally that he definitely must have been popping off on her. He was so callous, I would say, when describing, like literally just domestic abuse and assault before he found out that she was dead, which means that like he has a level of familiarity with said assault. He has a level of comfort with like both describing the assault and also engaging in it. So I'm fairly certain that this is probably a routine offense, which is why he was so shocked as well, because he's like, oh, well, it didn't happen the prior times that I fucking hit her. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is my suspicion.
I think you're right.
My second suspicion is that he will get like affluenza style lighter charges than you normally would in this circumstance.
That changed today. As this police interview was airing, Yeardley began crying, was often pinching the bridge of his nose with his hands and looking down as he listened to the sound of his own hysterical voice. I did not kill her. I did not kill her. I did not.
In court Tuesday, Yeardley's defense faced an uphill climb.
The most riveting testimony came from former UNC lacrosse player Michael Burns, who testified that one time while visiting UVA, he heard some yelling for help from Yeardley's apartment. When he opened the door, he said he found Yeardley with his arm wrapped around Love's neck, choking her. Yeardley then let her go, and she ran out of the room crying.
A variety of medical experts took the stand this Wednesday, and they all seemed to agree that Love's death was the result of blunt force trauma to the head. This was followed by highly distressing witness testimony from Yeardley's neighbors.
The noise was so loud, this was such a violent death that they heard it downstairs.
Oh my God, that's Kimberly Guilfoyle. What the fuck? That's crazy. Sorry, that's California Governor Gavin Newsom's wife that is now married to Donald Trump Jr. Sorry,
That's crazy.
It's unrelated to everything.
Pauses plus 2 pauses for that.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm running out the clock because like it's already, we got like 3 minutes left. You know what I mean? And also on top of that, you don't have to hear this part because, you know, viewers at YouTube don't experience this, but it's the top of the hour, so I'm gonna run a 3-minute ad break.
Oh, we can't relate.
No, we can keep going through it because if they want an uninterrupted broadcast experience, all they need to do is subscribe, which they could do for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime, or by getting gifted a sub. Here's the 3-minute ad break now.
And it sounded like a stereo crashing to the ground.
That's messed up.
That the jury.
You can't play the video while half your audience is watching ads.
It's not half my audience. Luckily, most of my audience is subscribed already, so.
We should wait for them.
Okay.
That's crazy. There's only 2 minutes.
Ting, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Yeah, there's more people who are subscribed to my audience than not, and they're mad now that we are not continuing with the.
Okay. You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah. We got to cater to the payers.
Yeah, exactly.
Jury knew that she was alive for 2 hours before she died, indicating that if George Yeardley had come to his senses, he could have gone back there, called 911, and possibly saved her life.
Still, the driving argument for the defense is that George Yeardley never intended to kill. They say this was all a tragic accident, that he does not
he intended the bruise,
a life sentence, but instead
fuck her up a little bit, not kill. Come on.
And a second chance.
Guilty of second-degree murder. And
Thank you,
will hear
Dean
the
Beamy,
sentence
for the 5
momentarily.
A 26-year prison prison term came down.
George Hughley was brought to court to hear
What
his
an
lawyers
idiot.
plead for the judge to cut in half the 26-year sentence recommended by the jury. Judge Edward Hogshire did trim it back, but by just 3 years.
The jury in this case recommended 26 years. The judge changed it to 23. Probably a small difference, but why would he do that?
It's surprising, isn't it?
Yeah,
Considering this
why
is a
would he
woman
do
who
that?
was beaten to death in her own bed.
We think that George was convicted of a crime inconsistent with the facts, and he received a penalty inconsistent with what the evidence would require.
There are no winners in this case.
With credit for the time that George Hughley has already served in jail, and if he gets time off for good behavior, he could be out in 18 years. And the family for Yeardley Love has put out this statement saying, "We find no joy in other sorrow. We are relieved to put this chapter behind us."
As
that
for
is-
George, he was incarcerated at the maximum security Augusta Correctional Center for 10 years and has since been transferred to a prison work camp in Richmond where he's expected to serve out the rest of his sentence. The present consensus in the media is that
he
George
got sent
had
to the
no
gulag.
intention of killing Yeardley, but that his 23-year sentence is still appropriate, if not lenient, and that him being drunk to any degree at the time of the murder is not an excuse, nor does it lessen the culpability of his actions to any extent. He'll be released at the age of 45, meaning he will have the second chance at life Yeardley was never afforded. You can decide for yourself whether he deserves it or not.
A comforting prospect to this tragedy is the nonprofit.
I mean, he got hit with a
the
decent
One Love Foundation
penalty,
carries
which is
extremely important
surprising.
Messages, both on social psychology and preventative education.
I did not think that he
Their
would
website
get.
will be linked in the description of this video.
I thought he would get less than that. I thought he would get less than that. There have been instances of like sexual assault, especially where like a person of that background will end up, having their sentence reduced dramatically. For sure.